Well married, a person has wings, poorly married, shackles. Marriage, it seems, confines every man to his proper rank. Marriage is a bribe to make the housekeeper think she's a householder. Perhaps my problem in marriage, and it is the problem of many women, was to want both intimacy and independence. It is a difficult line to walk, yet both needs are important to a marriage. One was never married, and that's his hell. Another is, and that's his plague. An ideal wife is any woman who has an ideal husband. Never feel remorse for what you have thought about your wife. She has thought much worse things about you. Marrying for love may be a bit risky, but it is so honest that God can't help but smile on it. The best way to get most husbands to do something is to suggest that perhaps they're too old to do it. Marriage, a word which should be pronounced mirage. Take care of him, and make him feel important, and if you can do that, you'll have a happy and wonderful marriage, like 2 out of every 10 couples. Marrying a man is like buying something you've been admiring for a long time in a shop window. You may love it when you get it home, but it doesn't always go with everything else in the house. A marriage contract to me is as binding as any in business, and I have always believed in sticking to an agreement. In every marriage more than a week old, there are grounds for divorce. The trick is to find, and continue to find, grounds for marriage. Marriage is like a bank account. You put it in, you take it out, you lose interest. Marriage is like putting your hand into a bag of snakes in the hope of pulling out an eel. A word of encouragement from a teacher to a child can change a life. A word of encouragement from a spouse can save a marriage. A word of encouragement from a leader can inspire a person to reach her potential. The secret to a long marriage is to stay gone. No union is more profound than marriage, for it embodies the highest ideals of love, fidelity, devotion, sacrifice, and family. In forming a marital union, two people become something greater than they once were. The secret of a happy marriage is finding the right person. You know they're right if you love to be with them all the time. A marriage is no amusement but a solemn act, and generally a sad one. Many people spend more time in planning the wedding than they do in planning the marriage. The problem with marriage is that it ends every night after making love, and it must be rebuilt every morning before breakfast. After about 20 years of marriage, I'm finally starting to scratch the surface of what women want, and I think the answer lies somewhere between conversation and chocolate. It is my belief that no matter how advanced man may become in science, technology, systems, and knowledge, he can never improve on the foundational precepts of marriage as the bedrock of social development. Marriage, in its truest sense, is a partnership of equals, with neither exercising dominion over the other, but, rather, with each encouraging and assisting the other in whatever responsibilities and aspirations he or she might have. Not cohabitation but consensus constitutes marriage. Marriage is not all rainbows and butterflies. You have to give in to your partner's whims every now and then, and that's a two-way street. Marriage is not simply a romantic union between two people. It's also a political and economic contract of the highest order. Romantic love is an illusion. Most of us discover this truth at the end of a love affair, or else when the sweet emotions of love lead us into marriage and then turn down their flames. One of the things I discover a lot in marriage counseling is the husband or wife trying to get their spiritual thirst quenched by their partner. I think that's a real common mistake that we make. Marriage is an act of will that signifies and involves a mutual gift, which unites the spouses and binds them to their eventual souls. with whom they make up a soul family, a domestic church. There is, hidden or flaunted, a sword between the sexes till an entire marriage reconciles them. Never stay in a bad marriage, and don't hang around with psycho coke fiends. I think of love and marriage in the same way I do plants. We have perennials and annuals. The perennial plant blooms, goes away, and comes back. The annual blooms for just a season, and then winter arrives and takes it out for good, but it still enriched the soil for the next flower to bloom. In the same way, no love is wasted. Even in the common affairs of life, in love, friendship, and marriage, how little security have we when we trust our happiness in the hands of others? Friendship brings in a lot of honesty and trust into any relationship, especially a marriage. A good marriage is one that allows for change and growth in the individuals and in the way they express their love. Finding good partners is the key to success in anything, in business, in marriage, and, especially, in investing. If you've had a marriage that ended because of a betrayal in trust on your spouse's behalf, the idea of trusting another person with your heart can seem completely ridiculous. Remember that creating a successful marriage is like farming. You have to start over again every morning. The marriage state was designed to complete the sum of human happiness in this life. It sometimes proves otherwise, but this is owing to the parties themselves, who either rush into it without due consideration or fail in point of discretion in their conduct towards each other afterwards. I think of marriage as a garden. You have to tend to it, respect it, take care of it, feed it, make sure everyone is getting the right amount of sunlight. In marriage, do thou be wise, prefer the person before money, virtue before beauty, the mind before the body, then thou hast a wife, a friend, a companion, a second self. There is nothing wrong with your marriage if you're dealing with bills and kids and the broken garbage disposal and in-laws and work demands. That's a normal marriage.